Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the T-CAIREM Summer Research Program information session. My name is Professor Laura Rosella. I'm the education lead at T-CAIREM, and we're going to tell you all about T-CAIREM itself, the program, and hopefully answer most of your questions. But we will have time at the end if you have any questions. You can also put questions in the chat. We have a few wonderful members of our team, including Marianne and Zoriana and Dominic and many others who are here from the T-CAIREM staff who can help support those questions as I'm going through. So let me give you a little background on T-CAIREM in case you haven't heard about us or don't know too much about us. T-CAIREM stands for the Temerity Center for Artificial Intelligence Research and Education in Medicine. We're based out of the University of Toronto. We were possible because of a generous donation from the Temerity family, and we were established in October of 2020. So right during COVID, we didn't meet in person for quite a while, but we still launched, including our summer program. We had a virtual summer program, which has been one of our more successful programs, and I'm really excited to tell you about it today. The goal of T-CAIREM, though, aside from our education stream, is really to advance AI in medicine through multidisciplinary collaboration between all different types of folks that work in the space, including healthcare providers, statisticians, computer scientists, engineers, as well as those working in industry. We have over 2,000 members, and we are now the largest AI in medicine network in Canada and one of the largest in the world. And we're globally connected to the other AI centers of medicine as well. So I just want to introduce you to the executive team. We are led by Mohammed Mamdani, an internationally known leader in AI in medicine, and also the chair of laboratory medicine and pathobiology, Rita Kandel. We are situated in the LMP Department of Medicine, so that's our home. We have 3 different focal areas and our community outreach division. So as I mentioned, I'm part of the education division. And I need to mention I have 2 amazing co-leads, Abhishek Banturu and Gemma Postel, both who are students leads. So they're in different programs at the university, and they co-lead all of our education initiatives with us. There's research led by Anna Goldberg and David Singh, our community outreach led by Mamata Bhatt, and our infrastructure co-lead. We actually also host infrastructure to advance AI and medicine, David Rottenberg and Benjamin Habe Keynes. So that's the team, the leadership team that supports T-CAIREM. And if you come to any of our events, you'll meet all these individuals at different points. Actually, they're all heavily involved in the summer program as well. So you get to meet them through that program as well. So let's just dive into the education theme in particular. When we started thinking about education in AI medicine, it's quite overwhelming. There's a lot of education that was needed because it's new technology, accelerating at a rapid pace. So we decided to actually think about who our audiences are. So we know that many people come to T-CAIREM and they are applied clinical users. So what does that mean? That means they work in medicine, they work in clinical environments, and they are going to come across AI. They don't necessarily need to be developing it or understand it at a deep technical level, but they need to be comfortable with knowing what it is and be a critical user, when they should use it, when they should not use it, what things should they be aware of. There's also many technical experts. At U of T, we have an amazing ecosystem of AI innovators. And some of these innovators are also clinicians, and some come from a more technical background, but some of the leading cutting edge applications of AI in healthcare are actually being developed right here in Toronto. And then there's those interested in the socio-technical aspects of AI, how it's being applied, all the legal, privacy, equity, and ethical issues that we have to think about. So all to say that we have a variety of educational initiatives that are aimed at all of these different types of audiences. So let me bring you now to the T-CAIREM Summer Research Program, which is why you are all here. As I mentioned, this is a program we are super proud of. This was one of the first educational programs that we designed, and we have seen it evolve into an incredible experience over the years. So what it is an experiential learning opportunity for undergraduate and medical students in the field of AI and healthcare. And our goal when we set up this program is to expose students to careers and research opportunities and practical experience in healthcare related AI, and to fund those and provide a bit of mentorship and support in that experience. So there are lots of summer research programs out there. We wanted one that was really dedicated to the experience of AI in healthcare. So the program officially runs for about 10 weeks, and they are research positions, and they're with leading AI scientists from across Canada. There are 30 spots. It is a bit of a competitive program, and many sought after spots that those students are applying for. So one of those programs is in collaboration with LMP, meaning they fund one of these positions. The rest are funded by T-CAIREM, and we've opened it up. U of T faculty may work with students from U of T, but they can also work with students from other universities. We can also look at faculty from other universities other than U of T, but they must be working with a U of T student. So someone from U of T has to be involved, but we can and have go across Canada for involvement in this program. And we've had some amazing students from across Canada, from medical schools across Canada, from undergraduate programs across Canada participate. One of the best things about this program, aside from the opportunity that you're going to get, is that we have several professional development sessions throughout the summer. So we start off with a bit of intensive training and some resources. Again, people are coming to the program with different backgrounds. So we try to make sure students have that support going in. And then throughout, you're going to interact with some of the individuals you saw in our executive, as well as other leading scientists and clinicians in the space, and other trainees who have been hand selected as part of our trainee program to hear about their research as well. So you get a chance to not just work on your project, but actually benefit from these learning opportunities. And you get to know lots of people in the T-CAIREM network and the others in the program. And I would say that's one of the best parts of the program. The quality of the projects is pretty outstanding, and the opportunities for networking are very high. So this is just this is a picture of us from last year. At the end of the year, we have a celebration. We have a conference. You have an opportunity to present. I'll share a bit more on that. And this is the slide you see above is just some of our professional development sessions. Some are online and some are in person. And there's winners. So we don't have the picture of the winners from last year, but every year at our conference, there's an opportunity to win student prizes for best presentation, et cetera. And this is just an example of some of the winners from the previous year. So one of the common questions we get is, what is a good summer project, or what are some examples of projects? And I put just the titles of a few of the projects here. It's not all of them. The good news is, if you go on the website, and actually, Marianne, maybe we can put the website up now where you will find all the details on how to apply. We have a list of all the students from all previous years that have come through the program, and you can see actually all of their projects, and you can see the titles of the projects, the supervisor, and you'll get a really good range of all the projects that we funded as part of this program. But you can see a range here. You can see some technical work, you can see work in imaging, in text. There's even qualitative work that is done on some of the user-centered design, or more of the ethical legal one. We've had reviews. So it's a really wide range of projects, different clinical areas, as well as different methodologies used for those areas. So just have as open of a mind as possible when thinking about what type of project would apply. Well, as we've mentioned, we've had everything from quantitative to qualitative to deep technical work to more applied work, even being part of some real live deployments. Look through those existing projects on the link, and that will give you a good idea. So let's go through the eligibility criteria. This is the part that's we get the most questions about, so I'm going to spend a moment going through it. So this competition is, I mentioned, not restricted to U of T students, but it is, you have to work with the faculty from U of T if you're not a U of T student. Students from any Canadian university who are currently enrolled in an undergraduate or medical degree program and will complete it by, that should say 2027, May 2027, but not earlier. So sorry about that. We'll make sure that typo's fixed. So what that means is if you're just finishing your program and you're at the sort of tail end, if you're completing school in 2027, you can apply, but if not, this is for people that are currently enrolled in the program. And this is also this could also include professional degree programs as well. International students are also eligible and encouraged to apply as long as they're enrolled in any undergraduate or graduate degree program. Student stipends are a minimum of $7,200 for the 10 weeks. This aligns with the NSERC summer program, so we are aligned with that. So new to this year for supervisors, actually this was new last year, but something that we want to just let everyone know, and also if you're a supervisor on the call interested about the program. So supervisors will be more involved in this year's summer research program than in previous years. So all of the supervisors involved will be asked to help evaluate one of the three activities, trainee rounds, the midterm check-ins, and the final mini conference. So let me just walk through and tell you what those things are. So our trainee rounds are a highly selected group of 10 trainees who submit their research progress that is happening, and they're sort of the kind of, it's a competitive process. So if you made it into trainees, not just anyone that can present, but there's a competitive process for selecting what we feel is the most exciting topics. And those are happening in June and July. And so you're going to hear these presentations as part of the summer program. They're also open. So when these presentations are happening, there will be many people, others that will be attending. And the supervisors from the T-CAIREM Summer Program are often involved as judges. These are all judged because the top trainee round of the year is awarded a prize. So that and a very significant recognition. So that's something that happens. What we have in July is a midterm check-in. So what that means is you're working along your project, you start in May, in July we'll all come together. We'll hear about how your project's going, your progress, how's your abstract going, how's your presentation going. Everyone involved in our program has to present at that Friday conference in August, a final mini conference in August. And so we'll get everyone around the midterm period to kind of check in how everyone's going. We can troubleshoot some issues that are coming up, and we'll just connect in person. That gives us a chance to do some networking as well. So if you are a supervisor for the first time in this program, just note that you will be contacted around some of the scheduling and contributions. So how are projects evaluated? So once you are applying to the summer research program, it's evaluated by the Trainee Advancement Committee. And we use the following criteria. So if you're wondering how do you make sure your program's competitive, these are the things that we're looking for. So first, the project has to have relevance to AI and health. There's a lot of really interesting projects out there. They might be very interesting AI projects. They might be very interesting health projects, but they're not AI and health projects. So the sort of relevance to our specific program, again, there's lots of summer programs where we are filling the niche around AI and health. That's the first thing we're looking for. The second thing is we're really looking for a strong training environment. So there's a section on the application where you have to describe what the training environment is like. Who are you working with? Are you in a lab? Will you have support? Do you have access to data? What is this? Are you working with a supervisor who has good experience in this particular area? That's really important because we want to select projects that are most likely to be successful. We also look at the student's academic record. It is a competition, it's a competitive program, and that's part of the assessment. We also look at their CV, if there's any special accomplishments or attributes that are relevant to the program. And we also try our best to make sure that we are considering all aspects of equity, diversity, and inclusion. We collect data on this, and we look at the balance of our program. So let me go through a few frequently asked questions because these are the ones that come up every year. And we want to make sure that we go through these. And if we go through all these and you still have questions, we'll have time to cover them at the end. But these are the questions I think cover most of the questions that we would get. So first question, I'm interested in this plus other research opportunities. Can you please add my email for future ongoing projects? Absolutely. If you haven't already, please sign up for the T-CAIREM mailing list. And there's nothing that you have to do to sort of get access to this. You just have to sign up. So it's super simple. How many positions are available? There are 30 positions available, as I mentioned before, and it's a competitive process. Are students from other medical schools, aside from U of T, eligible to apply? Yes, you are eligible to apply. You have to be working with a U of T faculty member. If you're not at U of T, other faculty members from other universities can supervise students, but they have to be at U of T. So you just have to have one of the pair at least at University of Toronto. International students are also eligible. You have to have a valid work permit, and if you're a registered student, that will be your mechanism of doing that. Does this count towards the Research Opportunities Program? The Research Opportunities Program is a wonderful program at U of T. This isn't specifically part of that program. It's a separate program. We aren't officially affiliated with it. How can we go about finding a supervisor? So this is really important. This is probably the number one question that we get. We reach out to supervisors in advance, and we have a list of supervisors that are looking for students on the website. You can also scan the QR code that's up here, scroll down to the PDF button, and you can contact supervisors. That being said, if you already have an idea or a supervisor that you want to work with that aren't listed on the PDF, you are also welcome to do so. The key thing is when you apply, you're applying with a supervisor. So let's say you were applying with me, you'd say, I'm applying with Dr. Rosella to work on this project, and we would apply together. And that's with the understanding that if you get this funding, I'm agreeing to take you on as a student. So in the past, we didn't have the student lists up there. The supervisor list up there, and we've added that in recent years to open up opportunities for students that may not know who to reach out to, or they're looking for some more options. And just again, I reiterated, either the student or the faculty have to be at U of T. Of course, both can be at U of T as well, but because this program is supported by U of T, we need either the student or the faculty to be from U of T. So where would the student be located for the internship, and can students work remotely? So the location for each workplace really highly depends on the supervisor. And again, as you're reaching out for a supervisor to apply to the summer project with, this would be a good question to ask. The project, for example, might be at University of Toronto. It might be based at one of our affiliated hospitals. It could be at a research center. Sometimes there's data collection. Sometimes data can be accessed remotely and sometimes not. So this piece should be clarified. And in particular, if you have needs around remote work, you really do have to clarify that in advance. Many labs, many hospitals have a requirement of in-person certain days a week now. So you'll really want to make sure that that's clarified with your supervisor when you're applying. And again, it varies highly on the topic. So what background do you need to have a competitive application? The specific background really depends on the project. So there's not one background that we're looking for. But we are looking for if you have the background to do that project. And it can be a learning experience. We understand this is undergraduate research program. It might be your first opportunity doing something in this background, but we're at least looking for you to have a background that feels like it could fit with the project, especially in the context and the setting that you're applying to. So for example, if you are in a training setting and a lab that's well supported in this area and that area, then that's something we'll be looking for. You might feel, do I have to have a degree in computer science? Not necessarily. We have lots of clinicians that don't have a computer science degree. If you're doing something highly clinical, we might be expecting you to be in a medical degree program. So again, it depends a little bit on the project. If it's a very complex technical analysis, then maybe we're expecting a certain background. So it really depends. It's really, are you well suited to take on the challenge of the project you're proposing? What are you looking in a research candidate, and what opportunities would you provide for them to excel in the program? So we evaluate it based on those criteria I went through, including the quality of the research project, the training environment, your academic record, and any other notable accomplishments. What we mean by that, maybe you've had research experience, other experience, as well as EDI considerations. So these are all the things that we're looking for when we're looking into students. In terms of what we apply, we have all of that professional development training, the opportunity with trainee rounds, as well as some training at the beginning of the course, midterm check-ins, etc. So it is a structured program. Do you have to have previous work or AI experience to apply? No. In fact, this program is actually a great opportunity for students to obtain their first experience in AI in medicine. And we've seen that now, and now that the program's a few years going, we've seen students go on to really accelerate their AI medicine career following this program. So it absolutely can be your first experience. If you do have experience, make sure you emphasize it. That may help establish feasibility of the project that you're proposing. What are some of the specific responsibilities if you're accepted into the program? Well, specific responsibilities really vary depending on your project. So depending on the nature of your project and what you're expected to achieve, that will be sorted out with your supervisor. But from our point of view at T-CAIREM, to get a T-CAIREM certificate of completion, we are expecting you to attend a minimum of 75% of the summer sessions. They're not that onerous. They happen approximately every other week. Most of them are virtual, but we do have some in-person sessions. The midterm check-in is really important. Obviously, the final mini conference is very important. We'd like to see you at trainee rounds, and again, over 75% of the sessions. If you can't commit to that, then you shouldn't apply to the program, because this is a program where we're expecting you to be around and contribute. But we do understand things come up. That's why it doesn't say 100%. But we do want, this is a program that requires your engagement over the summer. So if it's not going to work this summer, you can think about another summer maybe where it might be well suited. Do you want to know more about the program? Yes, you can do it by scanning the code. This is also the actual details that were in the chat in this session that were provided earlier. So you can go ahead and look in there. All the details are in there again, including other students. Okay, some other questions we've gotten. What should I include on my CV to stand out if I have no previous experience? Well, no problem. You can include any accomplishments that you've had, projects, experience, awards, leadership positions, volunteer. We're really looking for students that are eager, hardworking, and looks like you would really benefit from this experience, and you've shown that you've excelled in other opportunities that have been provided to you. What specific technologies can students expect to be working with during the internship? So the technologies depend again on the research project. So this is a good question for your supervisor. Are they expected that you have, coding experience in a particular software or comfort with working with software? So that's a good question going in, but there's no standard program that we expect. We will provide some Python resources as that is one of the most common coding languages. That goes into the next question, but there's nothing that's required. Would you say knowledge of coding is helpful? So on that point, again, there may be coding required. This is something I would clarify with your supervisor. You also may be in a team where you're going to have coding support. So that's a good question to clarify. And just the other thing to clarify just in general on that point is that, this is all team sports. So it's very rare that someone's coming in as an undergraduate student doing everything by themselves. There'll be data preparation. There'll be sometimes complex privacy requirements with the data, complex analyses, double coding to ensure rigor. There's all types of things and so you probably have a specific role, especially if it's in a larger project. So you can ask about that, and that can vary. But there's no, one coding language, one skill set that everybody needs going in. And what are some of the learning opportunities from this experience? So we think you should select projects that align with your research interests, and often we can see that through your CV and through your rationale on why you want to be part of the program. You should also ask about other learning opportunities as well. So these projects, obviously, you will gain a very strong knowledge. And again, we've seen this for several years from the project you're working on. And that could turn into future opportunities. But the supervisor's lab or research team might have other professional development opportunities. There might be networking opportunities. There might be opportunities to shadow some experiences. So I'll just give you an example. Sometimes if we have someone working on the more technical piece, maybe there's a clinician that's part of their supervisory team or that works with the lab, and they'll go and have some direct clinical observation to kind of round out how's this actually going to be used in the clinical setting, even if they're, let's say, from an engineering background, or it could be vice versa. So just think about the other pieces of experience you can gain from being in these settings, these really amazing research labs that are doing cutting edge work. The other thing is you're going to learn so much from each other. Every single project, again, it's a competitive process, really, really interesting projects. I can't tell you how much I enjoy our student conference at the end. We're really just seeing like the cutting edge of AI in medicine, even though these are summer projects. And you'll have an opportunity to meet each other and learn from one another. And then T-CAIREM obviously also hosts a number of touch points and activity sessions, so you'll get to meet everyone, including our session at the end. Okay, so last slide. The application deadline is January 25th, that in red there, 2026 at 11:59. So you have over the next 6 to 8 weeks here to get your applications together. Again, the application is submitted with your supervisor. And I know this is different than other programs, but what I will say is this makes it much more likely that you're going to be successful because you've already identified a project together, whereas some programs, it's a very open process and you're not sure what you're going to do or who you're going to be matched with. We find that this also allows students to really think about their project in advance and why they're able to make so much progress. As I mentioned, it's a full-time 10 weeks, so it's expected that if you're doing this project, you have to have the time to do it, which means you have time over the summer to engage in essentially full-time with this research project over the 10 weeks. You'll have to know exactly start and end. You'll want to confirm when the supervisor is available, and we are expecting that they're available during the program as well as participating. And you'll want to have the detail on the location where the research is going to be conducted, some agreement on work hours or when they expect you to be there, etc. Okay, I saw lots of questions flying around the chat. And I will say, again, there's the QR code, and then there's an email address, t.cairem@utoronto.ca, where you can basically send any questions in advance. But we have some time now, so I'm going to go to the chat or look at hands to see if there's any other questions. And I do want to ask I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm going to ask Marianne or anyone else from T-CAIREM if they want to add anything that I may have missed.
No, that is great, Laura. We've been trying to answer questions in the chat, so this might be a great opportunity for those who want to ask their questions verbally to just like raise their hand and come off mute. We're in a meeting, so our attendees can do that for sure.
Um, could I ask a question?
For sure.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, are the PIs like aware of this like program and stuff? Because I was looking at the PDF. So I just want to make sure because like sometimes when you like cold email PIs, sometimes they don't because they're so busy obviously and they have a lot of emails and stuff, they don't get back to you sometimes. So I was wondering, are there any like tips or anything we should include in our email when we're reaching out to them that, will help us get recognized by them or so that they can see our email?
I'm on mute here. I understand this is a big challenge. I think what I would say is in the heading, the subject line of the email is that just emphasizing that this is a funded research opportunity so that supervisors know that this isn't just, and I put the due date just so supervisors know, because they may not know which program, they might think it's graduate work, because there's lots of emails around there. Those would be my tips. The other thing is if you have friends or colleagues that have connections with supervisors and you know that seems to be successful for other students in the past where they go and they say, is your so-and-so supervisor or your former supervisor looking for students? I'm available. That can be something that can work as well.
Okay, thank you.
There's also sorry, we have a student by the name of S. Would you like to unmute and ask your question to Laura?
Hi, yes, thank you. My question was answered in the chat, but just to clarify, I asked when you require a CV, do you mean like the long detailed format or is like do you mean like a resume, like one page
Yeah,
strictly?
Yeah, a resume is fine. What I would say is what's most important on there is that we have your education
Hmm.
experience. And then if you do have any other relevant research experience, that's always nice to include. If you have any awards, that's helpful as well. So it definitely doesn't have to be long.
Hmm.
Those are the pieces that are most important.
So there's no like,
There's no format and there's
okay,
no
limit.
page limit.
So no like upper limit, no lower limit either.
Yes.
So you're just going to be reading, mindful of your time, like 100 applicants plus, like I'm not going to yap, but like I
Yeah.
come from a tech background, so
Yeah.
I like the standard limit is like one page and it's like
I would
cram in as much as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about cramming it in. I think make err on the side of including more information about you than less.
Okay. And can I, like, how far back can I go? For context, like, I'm in second year, currently taking,
Mhm.
like, and follow up to that, like, do you look negatively upon, like, part-timers, gap semesters?
No, no, not at all. It would be good to explain that
Hmm.
just so people know when they're reading your CV, just maybe put a line about that. But no, not at all.
Okay. And so can I go back to, like, high school?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
only have,
yeah.
like,
We
second
have
and
lots
first
of
year. Okay.
high school stuff on these CVs because some of these students are in second year undergrad, right?
Okay.
So we we definitely have lots of high school on there, which is
Thank you.
totally appropriate. If you were like 20 years out from high school,
That would be a
would
problem.
be eligible for the program. Like this is a program for undergrad, so
That's good.
very typical we're expecting to see high school.
Thank you. And then somebody else asked the question that I was gonna asking, like, Saba asked, do we need to provide GPA transcript? I'm guessing yes. So is it an unofficial transcript fine if we're not?
Yeah, we're fine with unofficial transcripts. Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
no problem.
And then Jaden.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jaden. I just had a quick question about co-supervision. I just put it in the chat, but this is more of, I guess, an administrative question around where that other 50% will come from prospectively if accepted into the program.
Yep.
That 50% in the case of co-supervision, would that be 25 and 25, or would this be we would just choose one supervisor and the funding would come from that?
Just choose one. I mean, I guess, I don't know, Marianne, Zoriana, can we split it? We typically prefer it's just coming from one supervisor, if possible.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
then
think we've ever split it.
no, unless it was a code PI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we split co-supervisor before?
Yeah, I don't.
I believe on the application, we have a spot where you can list a co-supervisor.
But in terms of the co-funding, then we could probably manage that because we would just do an extra invoice. So it would be fine if the co-supervisors want to split it. I will say what's more typical is one supervisor is actually providing the financial 50%, even though there's co-supervisors. They don't have to both contribute, if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
But
sounds good.
we could accommodate splitting it if needed. But typically, even when there's co-supervisors, like we do have co-supervisors, typically it would be one supervisor doing the financial contribution.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this would likely be a question like down the line, but good to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
to let them know in advance. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
I
you so
think there
much.
would be no problem on our end managing to like splitting it two ways.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
And then there's Chanel.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Dr. Laura for the presentation. Really do appreciate it. My question is mainly about the applications. What is a mistake you or anybody from the T-CAIREM or even supervisors have seen that you advise students to not make when they submit their applications for this program?
Oh, good question. So I would say one thing that's quite common, it's not really a mistake, but a flag that comes up for us if the project is just too ambitious in that it's a summer project. We want you to have something that you're presenting that is your work by the end of it as much as possible, obviously with support of your supervisor and their research teams. So sometimes something that's really not feasible in that time period would get a flag. And then the second thing would be anything where it feels it's kind of related to not feasible, but it feels like a stretch, like there's a disconnect between the background and then the expectations of the project. So as much as possible, we want that nice cohesive story where it's like a well thought out project and there's a really nice research environment that makes it clear that you're going to succeed in that project.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Some good questions.
Yeah, we're trying to get to
Yeah, you guys are
all the questions, but they're flying. So if there's anyone who probably didn't, if we just oversight missed it, just because there's so many questions, feel free to unmute and ask or to sort of repost it.
So let me clarify the summer thing because I think I said it wrong. I think I thought it was 2025. So it's if you graduate, if you're in fourth year and you're ending by May 2026, you're done your program requirements. You're not eligible. Is that Marianne, Zoriana? Can we clarify that? Because I think there's another question there on that.
So if you are graduating in May of 2026,
Well, you wouldn't be you would graduate in June, I guess, officially, but your program requirements are finished in May. You've no more courses to take, right?
right? So at that point, you are only eligible to apply if you will be starting a graduate program in the fall of 2026.
Got it.
Yeah. So essentially, you're going from one degree to the next degree, then you're eligible to apply. But if you're done the program and you're not starting another degree, then you're not eligible to apply.
Yeah, because we do need you to be a registered student. And so if you are continuing on, that keeps your registration status. Yeah, if you're a part-time student, can you apply? Yes. Believe that's the case. But this is a full-time summer program. So it is expected to be 10 weeks full-time. So just make sure. So if you're starting a graduate program like an MPH in September 2026, are you eligible? Yes. If you finish your program requirements in year 4. In May of 20, or it would be April, May 2026. If you are starting an MPH in September, then you're eligible. Yes, the transcript is necessary. It's part of our adjudication process.
And Laura, there's a question from Arthur who has his hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Arthur.
Yes, thank you again for your presentation. I just have a quick question regarding reaching out to supervisors. So it would be like nice if we have like a sort of a project proposal in mind, and then we kind of chat with supervisors to see if they're on board with this. Is that like, am I getting the right understanding? Just
Yeah, typically, because again, it's such a short period of time, you would be asking the supervisor what projects are available that, you know, would be something that they would like you to work on. That being said, if you're proposing something in their area of work that you know fits, so if you know that this is a supervisor that works in the area of machine learning and lung transplants, and you have a project that you think would be a good fit or a methodology that you think would be interesting testing, the supervisor might be open to that. But typically, it would be supervisors with projects or groups of projects or areas of work that they're looking for students on. So I think it's more of this is my background. These are the types of things I'm interested in. I see that you have projects in these area. Would you be open to putting in an application? Like, that's the other piece, is that, you know, you just have to agree to put in the application together. If you're selected, we do confirm again before officially enrolling you in the program. So they'll have an opportunity to do a final confirmation before you actually start.
oh, I see. So it's more like they have a project in mind, and then you kind of say like, oh, this is what I could contribute, and then kind of like sort of a pipeline. That makes sense.
Yeah, you'd want to mutually agree on what you could contribute to a program, what you could contribute to the project. So you'd want to mutually agree. I think some supervisors are quite open. I think others are very specific. Like, these are the projects that we have funding activity in. This is the type of student I'm looking at. So I think it's actually quite a bit of a range.
And sorry, one last question is that can you also apply to like multiple supervisors, let's say to like maximize your chances, or
Yeah, good question. We do see sometimes students applying with multiple. You'll only get one, obviously. So I would say as long as you're being transparent with your potential supervisors that you're going to apply to a few opportunities because you're not sure which one will get funded, then it's fine with us. We try not to fund, well, you can only do one project, so you will only get funded for one project. And we should be clear, actually, you should only be in one summer research program. And even for faculty, sometimes they have multiple students, and usually we try to just fund one unless there's a very specific case where having multiple students makes sense for the project.
okay, thank you so much, Laura.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, good questions here. So first of all, I think there was a question on compensation. So there is compensation, $7,200. So just to be clear. And then the piece around summer courses, that's a good question. Again, I think it depends on like the actual project you're doing. So if it's one course, you know, 1 day a week or 2 hours a week, and you can handle that with your summer work, it shouldn't be an issue. But I'd always, you know, it's always a good idea to check with your supervisor on that. And then Zoriana had some good other questions in the chat there. Just checking. Any other hands up?
Oh,
Sarah.
came up.
Yes.
Hi. Another question. Do you need our high school transcripts or is our uni transcript fine?
Yeah, just the university transcripts.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Oh wait, sorry. Can I ask one more follow-up
Yeah,
question?
absolutely.
So I got a reply saying that we can take 1 or 2 courses and you sort of answered it, but I can also just not take any course. Like we can also
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Most students just focus on their summer program, and that's what they're doing in the summer. But some students, like some courses are only offered in the summer, so they want to take a course, then that's fine too. But you can absolutely just focus on doing this program.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. There's a good question about first year undergrads. I actually didn't say this. I should have said this. It's for any student in any year. We've had students in all years of undergrad actually in this program. So I think some people may think, oh, it's only for senior, but we've had all amazing projects, all students in different stages. So it's not restricted in any way. Great, lots of good questions clarifying eligibility. I'll say if you want to ask any of those, now is a good time to clarify. Just checking. Any other questions, Marianne or Zoriana, that you think I should surface? Or any other hands?
We mentioned that if you're accepting, if you get chosen for the program and you accept our program, you're not eligible to accept any other program. So many students will apply to multiple summer programs. There's ours, there's the DSI summer program, there's many out there. And you may want to choose to apply to multiple so that you increase your chances of getting one. If you get accepted to multiple programs, you can only accept one. So if you accept our program, you need to decline the other acceptances that you receive. You can still indicate it on your resume. You can say that you've been accepted to like 2 or 3 programs and you've declined it, but you cannot be working in multiple programs.
Yeah, really important to emphasize. And we find out in case you're wondering. So it is important to pick the one that you want to do, and then you can mention it. There's some good questions in the chat. So Zhang has a question about if our transcripts aren't available, should we include high school? And unofficial transcripts are fine. So even if it's whatever you have, but if you really don't have anything, I would say include it. And even the ones that are in progress, I would also say include it so we can see what courses you've been taking, even if the marks aren't available yet. So yeah, include anything you want to include there. There was that other question about, do you have to come with a project in mind? So again, what you're doing is you want to speak to a supervisor about the projects that they have available in progress and that you'll have support on. It's 10 weeks, a very short period of time. If you have a specific skill set or an idea, I'm sure they're open to hearing about them. But most likely like, for example, the positions we posted, these are supervisors that say, here, I have an opportunity and here's the project description. So you can actually ask about what you could contribute to that project. That's how most of them are. But as I mentioned, I think some supervisors are open to ideas. Just keeping in mind it's a short period of time. I think there's questions about part-time jobs. I think that it would be very difficult to do a part-time job. And, well, it depends what I shouldn't say that. You couldn't do a full-time job. Part-time job, I think, is totally possible. I think it just depends what time a part-time job. Is it a part-time job where you work like 2 hours a week in the evening? I think that's fine. I think it really depends on when the supervisor is expecting you to be available and working on the project. So I think it just depends. Maybe teach swimming on Saturdays, that's fine. Those types of things are I think you just have to negotiate and be very transparent with your supervisor. Most supervisors can work around a lot of those situations. Interview advice, I think it's if you're interviewing, a lot of supervisors are interviewing. I think it's about your skill set, your willingness to learn, your enthusiasm, your work ethic. I think those are the things that are really important. And making sure you have a good understanding of the type of work that you're going to be doing in that research team. I think that question on your application, you can, there's some specific questions. I would email the T-CAIREM just to be sure. And then when you submit the application, there is an opportunity to provide context, but you can follow up with T-CAIREM on any very specific pieces of your particular application that you want us to look into or be aware of. Okay, I think we're good there. I'm looking at the chat. I think we've is the written submission application formality? It's not. We actually look at these projects. It's competitive. That's why it's not, because we can only fund 30 positions and we have more interest than that. So we always get more applications than positions we're able to fund. So we actually do really look at the project and the fit and the supervisor and the experience as part of the assessment criteria. So spend time on it and do your best, because it might come down to sometimes decisions have to be made because we can't fund every position. So I think there's another eligibility question. I don't think I'll let the T-CAIREM staff reply, but essentially if you're not a registered student in the summer, meaning you finish your course requirements and you're not starting again in the fall, then you're not eligible. Okay, I think that is it. We covered everything. Again, we don't interview you as part of this process, but your supervisor might. So those tips around being clear about your skill set and what you're looking to get out of this experience are really important, but that will be with your potential supervisor that you're applying with, not with us as a program. We don't conduct interviews.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.